how, and maybe I should have asked about her before Warren Buffett, but how did Melinda French Gates' experience with Bill Gates, the guy, and the Gates Foundation affect the way in which she's doing philanthropy now? Do you think is she also pivoting, reacting against the way in which the Gates Foundation did its philanthropy?
Well, just to catch up listeners, and again, another stunning development since the publication of my book is that Melinda Gates, like Warren Buffett, has jumped ship. She has stepped down from the Gates Foundation. After her divorce from Bill, they said they're going to try and work it out. They tried to co-direct it for a few years, and eventually she just said this isn't working, and she stepped away. I don't see Melinda French Gates as really distinct from Bill Gates in how she's doing philanthropy or how she sees the world. You look at the decade she spent at the Gates Foundation, she has nothing but pride for her work there. She's not apologizing or expressing any regret for any of the work. I think the politics and the ideology she brings to philanthropy today are the same as Bill Gates in terms of market-based solutions, primacy of the private sector, technology is a solution to every problem. I think that's still a major current in the work that she's doing. And now that she's an independent philanthropist, and she's also very Bill Gatesian in the lack of accountability and transparency with which she operates now as an independent philanthropist. I've This is something I'm going to write about soon, Mike. But I've taken a look at her work as an independent philanthropist through Pivotal Philanthropies, and there's not a lot of information there. Pivotal is not interested in talking to me or really talking about their work. But for whatever it's worth, one page that they've taken out of the Gates Foundation's playbook is Melinda French Gates through Pivotal has started funding journalism, just like the Gates Foundation. And Melinda Gates is not some passionate defender of the free press or wanting to empower journalists to hold structures of power accountable. That's not why she or Bill Gates is funding journalism. They're funding journalism to buy influence, to make it difficult. This is my view. You can call me a cynic. But I think the practical effect of Bill and Melinda Gates donating money to journalism is to create a financial conflict of interest that undermines the integrity and the independence of the journalists that they fund.
Hmm. Hmm. We do not know at this time, Tim, what the final version of the one big beautiful bill is going to have in it. But there is some legislative language that's been proposed and passed in certain bodies that would increase the excise tax on the investment income of endowments to include the Gates Foundation. And you've written positively about this. You've endorsed it, essentially. Uh, is that because of your experience, knowledge of Gates, or why are you one of the few? I'm going to say we'll get to that next, but why are you for increasing this excise tax on net investment income?
Well, big picture, I just want to be clear that I'm not endorsing Trump's tax bill, the net benefit of which, the net effect of which I think will actually expand and enhance Gates's personal wealth and thereby the money that's going to go into the Gates Foundation. So I think it's a net positive for Bill Gates and probably the Gates Foundation. But this one tiny little slice of the bill that's of interest to me is right. So Gates, in its most recent financial filings, I think they made $11 billion in investment income in 2023, and they would have paid supposedly a 1.39% tax. Under Trump's new tax bill, as it's currently being debated and proposed right now, they would pay a 10% tax on that. And to me, if anything, I'd say, well, why only 10%? This is, Bill Gates is donating his money from his private wealth to his private foundation. He continues to control it. And suddenly it can accumulate billions of dollars, sit in a bank account, accumulating billions of dollars, basically tax free. Like, why shouldn't an institution like the Gates Foundation with its 76, $77 billion endowment, why shouldn't it be paying taxes on the investment incomes it makes from, Microsoft, from Berkshire Hathaway? To me, it's like it does not seem like a radical thing, and I guess really big picture, Mike, is that I've been writing about this since Trump's election. Is that Trump represents really the first big opportunity we've had in U.S. politics to hold the Gates Foundation accountable, and I've had Gates Foundation insiders telling me from the earliest days that they're really scared that the Trump administration will do that they will investigate Gates, that they'll do something to the Gates Foundation. Others have written about that since then. And so I think this is the first material concrete effort that you've seen under Trump's presidency to actually go after Gates, to in any way rein in what the Gates Foundation is doing, this proposed 10% excise tax. So we'll see if it passes, and we'll see what effect it has, I guess, in the days and months ahead.
Hmm. Hmm. I mean, it would apply to more than just Gates, though. I mean, I know he'd be at the high end naturally, but I mean, I don't know. He's going after, I'll say big philanthropy, elite philanthropy, but many people at those lower rates think he's going after midland philanthropy too. But I'm
Well,
just, yeah,
it's a
not just,
graduated tax rate. So the very largest, I can't remember what the threshold was. Maybe it was like over 7 or 8 billion. You would get 10% tax rate. And there's another ratchet at 5%. So yeah, all of these are more than the current 1.39%, tax rate. But I don't know, at a point that you're a private foundation with billions of dollars invested into anything and everything, probably all kinds of industries that are, destructive to the world, I don't see that why you shouldn't be paying your fair share of taxes.
now I'm trying to get you in trouble, Tim, with your progressive friends. But am I right? Are you one of the few progressives to write even your qualified positive thing about this particular provision of what I understand you would all think is a bad bill? But why are you alone, if you are, in saying even what you just said there about the increase in the excise tax on net investment income?
Well, I don't know how many people are, because it's such a small part of this really big, I wouldn't say beautiful, but this really big piece of legislation. So I don't know how many people are writing about it, progressive, conservative. You might know better than I do. I mean, I think the world of philanthropy is writing about it mostly unfavorably because they feel threatened by it. They don't want to have to be subject to these taxes. But outside of this, pretty small world of philanthropy, I don't know that anybody's really thinking about this excise tax. I don't know. You tell me, are they?
Well, certainly in the narrow world of philanthropy,
Right,
yeah.
right.
But even, there's a lot of progressives in that world. Uh, and there seems to be a defensiveness on the part of
Yeah.
the progressives in it and the conservatives too. I mean, but we need more of you, Tim, I guess, if even only for the better debate. But I don't have an answer. But we noted that you were one of the few, and it might be because of the other provisions in the bill or polarization. You can't say one good thing about, one page in a 1,000-page bill is not enough. I get it, but you at
Yeah, I
least
mean,
the one.
to your point, I am not part of the political right, and I do think that Trump is a threat to democracy. And yeah, there is like a check that you might feel, that someone like me might feel, to say anything nice about the Trump administration, to support anything at all. So maybe I am the only progressive saying this, hopefully with the appropriate caveats. I don't think that Trump really is going to significantly and substantially change the way extreme wealth exists in the United States or anywhere else. But, again, back to that original point, if, I do think that Trump does present a unique opportunity to potentially rein in the Gates Foundation at least a little bit. And it'll be very interesting to see if or how that plays out in the months and years ahead.
Mhm. And then a final question, unless there's something else you want to say. This might be a version of the same question, but Trump aside, thinking more largely or at a higher level of abstraction, might there be some philanthropy or nonprofit policy reforms on which progressives and populist conservatives, whatever each of those terms end up meaning, on which there could be some agreement? Progressives think it's anti-democratic and this is outrageous. Some populist conservatives might think, well, this is why are we subsidizing all of the activities with which we disagree? Any other potential areas of agreement, if even only temporary and partial?
Yeah, I think so. And I think maybe you and I have traded some direct messages at points on social media about this sort of strange bedfellows ethos we see. I think somebody like Bill Gates and the Gates Foundation is kind of a particular example, but is a growing body of detractors on both the political left and the political right. And when I say political left, I mean left of the liberal centrist sort of New York Times ethos of the world. But Gates is extremely unpopular on the political right. It's extremely unpopular among Trump's, cabinet members, if not Trump himself. And Gates has long been extremely unpopular on the political left. That's where the source of many of the rich critiques you find from academics, researchers, and some even some journalists over the years, I think, are probably more coming more from a political leftist perspective. So it is one of many interesting where you do see these strange bedfellows kind of happening. I think even Trump's big, beautiful bill at one point, there was even speculation that he was going to put a tax on billionaires. That didn't happen, but I think there was even speculation on that. But that does also give a glimmer that the political right, maybe, I don't know if they're co-opting leftist politics or taking up the place or what exactly is happening. But I do think that there is a sort of, yeah, strange bedfellows thing happening there. Now, I don't know, you know, if or how that will grow or morph into anything. And maybe you have ideas on that. But it is interesting to see how that plays out at times and places.
Hmm. Hmm. Uh, I lied, right? I have one more question.
Okay.
You must have another book in you, Tim. What are you thinking, if anything, about a next project?
I mean, this book was the hardest thing I've ever done, professionally, maybe personally. It's extremely, extremely difficult to write a book like this. And, and part of the reason is because you're writing a book about one of America's great heroes. And there's so many people who are funded by Gates or hope to get funded by Gates or just who simply like the guy. So it really was an uphill battle, and it took a big toll on me to write this book. But at the same time, it's probably, the best thing I've done as a writer in terms of trying to make money, which is very hard to do. I'm a freelance journalist. So it probably would behoove me to take on another big project, to work on another big book. Um, but I'm not ready to I'm not ready to make any big announcement, but I'll take any ideas.
You should write a book like attacking apple pie or something
Yeah.
like that. Okay. All right. Well, with that, unless you have anything, Tim, you want to add or that I didn't ask, I think we can finish up after I thank you, Tim Schwab, for doing this with us today. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me.